Welcome to this explainer. Look, if you're navigating the U.S. immigration system, you might be thinking, hey, a green card and U.S. citizenship, they're basically the exact same end goal, right? Well, actually, treating them interchangeably can lead to some major miscalculations down the road. So today, we're going to break down the rights, those hidden limitations, and the true long-term realities of both, so you can make highly informed decisions about your future. Okay, let's take a quick look at our agenda, which is going to serve as our roadmap today. 1. The green card ceiling. 2. The citizenship advantage. 3. The EB-5 investment route. 4. The path to naturalization. And 5. Making your decision.
All right, diving right into Section 1, the green card ceiling.
You know, it's fascinating because immigrants often lead these parallel lives. On the surface, a green card holder's day-to-day feels remarkably normal. You can work almost anywhere, own property, sign contracts, send your kids to public schools, the whole shebang. But legally, there's a very real, very strict ceiling. Unlike citizens, green card holders literally cannot vote in federal or state elections. No U.S. passport for you, and you're actually barred from certain federal jobs that need a security clearance. Oh, and you have to physically renew that card every 10 years. So the huge takeaway here is that while a green card is a super powerful document, it is fundamentally conditional. It requires active maintenance. Now, why does this matter to you? Well, because if a critical legal or life situation pops up, that string attached to your residency could snap. It's conditional on your continued compliance with U.S. ties and laws, meaning your status always carries this ongoing risk of revocation. It's never 100% permanent. Which brings us nicely to Section 2, the citizenship advantage. Now, citizenship is the ultimate goal for so many people, right? And that's because it's the absolute highest form of legal membership in the country. It offers a permanent, completely unconditional status. We're talking no expirations, no decade-long renewals to stress over, just permanent security and full, absolute protections under the law. When you look at these stark legal differences side by side, the advantages of citizenship become pretty undeniable. Yes, both statuses grant you the right to live and work in the U.S., but only citizens get to vote, hold a passport, and sponsor a much broader range of family members like your siblings and your parents. And honestly, the biggest thing, while a permanent resident must maintain their U.S. residency to keep their status valid, a citizen never, ever has to worry about that. To put it simply and powerfully, a U.S. citizen cannot be deported, period. While permanent residents face some serious vulnerabilities if they commit certain offenses, or say live abroad for way too long, your status as a citizen is unconditionally protected. It allows you to live freely and even pass that citizenship down to children born abroad, entirely automatically. Moving right along to Section 3, the EB-5 investment route. So one increasingly popular entry point into this whole system is the EB-5 program. This route requires a minimum investment of $800,000 in what they call targeted employment areas, or just over $1 million for standard projects. It's a pathway that really attracts high net worth investors globally who want that residency without sitting in those typical family or employment-based waiting lines. The catch? Your investment has to create at least 10 full-time U.S. jobs. And this investment builds over a very specific timeline. You start with conditional residency in year 1. Then, you graduate to a standard green card in years 2 through 4, once those jobs are actually verified. Finally, you hit naturalization eligibility by year 5. A lot of families actually choose this exact route just to give their kids access to top-tier universities in the immediate stability of a green card, while they figure out if full citizenship is their ultimate goal. All right, let's look at Section 4, the path to naturalization. So how do you actually bridge that gap from resident to citizen? Generally, the standard wait time is 5 years. But, and this is a big but, if you happen to be married to and living with a U.S. citizen, that clock actually speeds up to just 3 years. Now, the requirements to naturalize, they are highly specific and totally non-negotiable. Think of them as strict legal checkpoints you absolutely must pass. You gotta be an adult, obviously, hold lawful permanent residency, and demonstrate continuous physical presence in the U.S., meaning you can't just have the card in your wallet but live in another country. You also need to show basic English proficiency, pass a civics test covering U.S. history and government, and, crucially, maintain a clean criminal record. In practice, this dense bureaucratic journey is going to take upwards of a year in many jurisdictions. It kicks off with Step 1, submitting Form N-400.
Then step 2, you undergo a biometric screening. Step 3 is completing an in-person interview for those English and civics exams. And finally, step 4, after all the paperwork, all the testing, you reach the most impactful moment, taking the oath of allegiance at a formal ceremony. At that exact moment, your green card becomes invalid and you get your certificate of naturalization.
Now, it is definitely worth noting that the system does provide some specific exceptions and expedited paths, depending entirely on your unique life circumstances. For instance, military members serving honorably can often naturalize on a super expedited basis. And individuals with qualifying disabilities, they might actually have their language or testing requirements adjusted to accommodate their specific situation.
Which brings us to our final part, Section 5, Making Your Decision.
Look, remaining a permanent resident indefinitely is a totally legitimate choice for a lot of people. But you have to constantly weigh the ongoing risks, especially those really strict rules around traveling outside the United States. If you leave for more than 6 months, you immediately raise serious questions about abandoning your residency. Leave for over a year, and the law practically presumes you've abandoned it entirely. You also really need to consider your home country's dual citizenship laws. While the U.S. is totally fine with dual citizenship, your home country might require you to rip up your original passport if you become an American. And honestly, that's exactly why some folks choose to just stay permanent residents. So if you want to stop just drifting through the system and really start navigating it with purpose, you have to ask yourself, where do you stand today and where do you want to be in 10 years? Are you okay with the hidden ceilings and the constant maintenance requirements of a green card? Or do you absolutely need the permanent, unconditional protection of full citizenship? Think carefully about your timeline, your family's needs, and your long-term goals. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I really hope this clarity empowers you to navigate your journey with absolute confidence. So what's your next move going to be?